All right, I'm joined now by Alex Gaugert, also known as Feely, caddy on tour for Erik van Rooyen. And this is a big week for you. I mean, there's a lot going on. You're going to play on the PGA Tour in the 3M Open. How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. It's happened kind of fast ever since kind of Sunday afternoon and watching my guy finish really fast at the Barracuda and then watching my brother play in the final group. He was caddying for Rogers. Then going to Sacramento and some layovers and then kind of went into the Monday qualifier with no expectations and kind of hung in there and then made an eagle and a birdie late. And yeah, it was pretty surreal and it's a pretty memorable week so far.
Yeah, well, and then I mean it's a whirlwind, right? Because you had to drive 90 minutes, like because you're in Tahoe. I'm from that area. You're in Tahoe. You got to come down in the valley, drive 90 minutes, get to Sacramento. Like, what was the feeling like? You're in the airport. What, you delayed till 3 a.m. Like, take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a layover. I went from Sacramento to Seattle, Seattle to Minneapolis, and Sacramento to Seattle was delayed a little bit, maybe 20 minutes, but we were on the plane and then got to Seattle and it was like planes delayed to 2:55 and I'm like, oh crap, there's no way this flight's taking off. But at the time there's nothing I could do. Like I couldn't, make them go. So I was just like, it is what it is. So I passed out in the Delta Lounge for a couple hours, and then some guy comes and taps on me on the shoulder and is like, "Hey, buddy, we're closing down the lounge here. You gotta get out of here." So then I went and passed out by the gate and set a few alarms and got up when started to board and boarded and fell asleep for maybe half hour on the flight and then got here and got my bag and came home, saw my wife and kids for literally 20 minutes, left for the course at 10 o'clock, got there at 10:30 and played at 11.
And how many balls you hit on the range? Like, what kind of warm up are we talking about here?
It was just a warm up. It wasn't it was just get warm and go hit shots, like fades and draws, and I probably hit 15 balls.
And just you do what you can, right?
Yeah, and then you get up on the hole and see what your kind of mind sees and just go hit it.
And how does it feel though, like to be able to get through, like you said, less expectations, right?
Yeah, it feels pretty cool. I've always been a decent player, never great. And I think you learn a lot from watching, but a lot of people have told me, other caddies and whatnot have told me like, dude, you're really good. And I don't know if I necessarily believed it personally, but it was the more and more people have told me that, I think I've started to believe it a little bit more. And yeah.
Well, you won the 2014 Wisconsin State Open. You're from
Stadium.
State Am, sorry. You won
Yep.
the State Am in 2014. You're from Geneva, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. There, you grew up playing at Hillmore with your brother and sister. I mean, as a player, like I know you were on the Sunshine Tour for what 1 year, right? What
Yeah, kind of
what
not
did you
even.
take away? What did you take away from just making a charge as a player and as you go forward now as caddy?
What do I take away? I mean, um, how I look at it now is like when I was younger, I used to put these guys on pedestals and idols and whatnot, and it's like at the end of the day, they're just humans. They're just people who are good at what they do. There's a number one accountant in the world, whether it's based on financials or whether it's based on deals or clients or whatever they charge. And at the end of the day, they're just people, and it's just like as a player, I mean, it's like you learn a lot from watching. I've learned a ton from watching and caddying and how to play different shots and kind of how to pick apart a golf course and not complicate it too much. And then, you play a little bit and you have a few good results. And you kind of build a little mini confidence. I mean, I'm nowhere as good as the guys on the PGA Tour, but like it's 1 week, and you know, over the course of a year, I think it shows. But over 1 week, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, speaking of the guys on the PGA Tour, your guy Freddie, as you call him, what was his reaction as you told him that you made it into the 3M this week?
Oh, he was watching, I guess, because this was the first Monday qualifier I ever did. He was watching and texting all our buddies, and then the scores were like late to update because we had 2 rain delays, and I actually tried to leave after the first rain delay, and the guy who was caddying for me was like, "No, no, no, you're not leaving."
What
So
was your score at the time?
I was -1 through like 8 holes.
You just fed up, or what's the deal?
I was tired. I was like, I was ready to go home. But yeah.
So Eric is on his phone following it, basically.
Yeah, it's like updated each 9 holes is updated, and then we went in for the rain delay, and then he texted me, he goes, "How we doing?" And I said like 300 through 13, and then I had a pretty fast finish. I eagled 16 and birdied 17 and part 18, and it was like, okay, here we go, we got a chance.
So when you got through, when you got in, what was that exchange like with Eric? Was this a quick text? Did he give you a hard time once he saw you at the course the next day, or what?
I called him and he was screaming. He was so pumped. Yeah, he was screaming. He was so pumped, and I was pumped. I actually shed a few tears and like got a little emotional, and it's like, wow, this is kind of cool, and it's all gonna kind of come together, and then the tour kind of pairs us together. So it's been pretty crazy day for sure.
And just as your best friend, he was just happy for you, just saying, "Hey, congrats, buddy! This is a great opportunity, basically."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, exactly. Memory, and we're gonna get to play together. I mean, we're best friends, and like caddy, and he knows how dedicated I am to it, and it's kind of a week that I can kind of, it's a little bit more about me, but it's kind of cool.
Well, you mentioned you guys are paired together. Like, how fun is that dynamic going to be? I know you played a practice round today, right? So,
Yeah.
how much are you looking forward to really kind of getting a chance to show your best friend that you got some good chops, in the moment?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm just going to go out there and hit shots and have fun and see what the score adds up to. I think playing with him is going to be really, really nice, and I think that'll relax me a little bit more for sure.
Well, so being paired together, what are some things you guys do? I know you're a big music guy. So what are some things you guys do to get on each other's nerves in general? You guys are best friends. So are you blaring your favorite music, as you typically drive to the course, or you guys have this, back and forth? Like what kinds of things do you guys do?
I don't know particularly. It's kind of in the moment, and you got to pick and choose your spots on when you're going to do it. But he knows like we're pretty professional on when we step foot on the course, and we have fun off of it, and yeah. So yeah, I can't answer that question with anything for you, but we have a good time for sure.
Yeah. Well, what is it about you two together? I know you're best friends, but what is it about you guys as player caddies that works so well as a team?
I think personally, probably just sheer honesty. I think the sheer honesty is, I think, really, really key in a positive relationship. I'm pretty more stream, like I just kind of hang around the middle, and he's a little bit spikier with his emotions, as probably most caddies and most players. But yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I love my job, but I love hanging out with him. I can always back a guy who always works his tail off. So he's an easy guy to work for.
Definitely. You live how far away? 30 minutes from the course?
30 minutes, yeah.
So what is that local feel going to be like for you? Friends, family? Like what do what's that going to be like?
Well, my brother caddies on tour as well, so
Austin, yeah.
we're together a lot, and usually my parents come up for this event, just because they come see both my kids and see my wife, and see both of us up here, and they just stay in my house and kind of a little bit of a party, and yeah, we'll have a good time.
What about just being, I mean, of all events, it's got to be in Minnesota, right? Like, what are those odds?
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't play any Mondays anywhere else, honestly. Um, just because I like coming home early, and so yeah, it probably would only be in Minnesota. Like I said, I never Monday qualified for anything else, so
Yeah, no, this is huge, and first PGA Tour event naturally that comes with that. As we kind of wrap up here, I just want to get a sense of like what's a fun story with you and Erik that kind of highlights your relationship. I mean, I know you guys have been together for what, 4 years now, right?
we've been together since beginning of 2019, so 5 plus 19, 20, 21, 22. No, 4.5.
Four
Yeah.
and a half, yeah. Quite a few majors over the time, yeah.
Yeah. Fun story. There was a time that we in Mexico, I'll never forget it. This kid Diego followed us in a practice round. There was no one around. We're like, come inside the ropes and talk to him. And we chatted with him and gave him some balls and kind of taught him how to putt, and comes out and watches us every single day. His mom lets him sit school and like took pictures, and then next year we're there, sees us again. His mom shows us like a picture of his room, and it has like 20 pictures of us in it. And at the end of the tournament, he wrote us each like a thank you letter and gave us each like a gift. And then in the gift were like 2 of those masks that you wear in Mexico. And so we went back to Florida and had like a event. I think it was the Honda the next week. And we would just drive around town wearing those things and just rolling down the windows, pulling up the stop signs, and blasting music and like dancing, and people are like, who are these guys?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you guys, of course, go back to University of Minnesota, having been there 2010 to 2013, roughly, right?
Yeah.
Playing
That was,
college.
yeah, exactly. I was there 2010 to 2014. And he graduated a year prior, and then I played the Sunshine Tour with him for a year, and then he kept playing over there for like 4 or 5 years in between that, and then I started caddying for him after that.
And you went in that kind of 3 or 4 year stretch. You went to Scottsdale, right? And you were working outside services. What else were you doing? Assistant pro? Like what was that like?
Yeah, I worked as assistant pro. I waited tables at a sports bar. I was teaching golf. I was lead instructor at Tonto Verde for a little bit, and that was kind of like a year. And then kind of started caddying for Erik. And I talked to my boss. He goes, "Yeah, go caddy for him, man." And I kind of weeks off. I didn't have any kids yet. Weeks off, I would come back and teach. And then I would go caddy and teach, and yeah, that was. And then my wife, we had our first baby, and she was like, "I kind of want to move back to Minnesota, where my family's from," and so we moved back here and just caddying full time now.
And your first baby you brought to St. Andrews last year, right?
Second baby, that was our second, so we got 2 now.
Okay, so what are the 2 names here?
Annika and Arnie.
Named after golfers?
Kinda. My wife's got pretty Swedish heritage, so we like the name Annika. My wife's name is Aubrey, so all our names will start with A. Alex, Aubrey, Annika, and Arnie. And then Arnie, we just kind of liked. We thought Arnold. It's actually Arnold, but we thought Arnold was a pretty strong name and not used often, so we liked it.
And just wrapping up here, who's going to caddy for you, and what's the story behind that?
My brother's gonna caddy for me.
Okay,
So
coming off that playoff
yeah,
run with Rogers.
yeah, he got let go a couple weeks ago, and so then he filled in for Rogers because his caddy Rogers wasn't gonna play the Barracuda, and his caddy was he had like a family trip. I don't know where he was, but and so yeah, he was actually going to caddy for Ryan Moore this week, and then it's like, well, it's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. But let me talk to Ryan, and he talked to Ryan. Ryan's like, no problem. So and then we're actually paired with Ryan Moore as well. It's like,
Crazy.
yeah,
Well,
pretty.
and just being, getting a chance to get there Thursday morning. I know you're a pretty low key guy. You keep your emotions in check pretty well, but like, what are the emotions going to be like? Just having friends, family, just so much going on. This is a pretty cool thing for your life, really. Looking back.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. But at the end of the day, you can't make the situation any bigger than it is. I mean, the tee markers will be on the tee box. There'll be a fairway. There'll be a spot you're trying to hit it. The pins will be on the green. You'll hit a putt and just you go play. But that's emotionally, I don't know how I'll be, but I'll try to just simplify it. But it'll be a really cool experience.
And who's going to fill in for you this week on Eric's back?
One of Eric's and I old teammates, who's the assistant coach at Minnesota, Robert Bell. So
Just an
yeah,
easy decision for him today that he made, or
yeah, it was simple. I talked to Fred, like I initially asked the tour, like, hey, listen, any chance I can get put in the morning and Eric can be in the afternoon, and then I can play and then caddy for him. And they're like, no, but so they put us together.
that's crazy. Great grouping. Hey, listen, Alex, a lot of fun catching up. Thanks for jumping on for a little bit, and enjoy your week, buddy.
No problem, Garrett. We'll chat to you soon. If you need anything else, holler.